everybody, and welcome to, or should I say, bonjour, and welcome to the latest
You did
episode
this.
of Square Triangle. I am Decavolty. I am joined, of course, by X and Sharky. We will be
Hello.
talking about, as I may have alluded to with my very bad French, Backlash France, as it is called in WWE lexicon.
Yeah, I was just wondering if they're going to call it back. I brought up the wiki article so I could see like times and everything, and they're just calling it Backlash France. So that's
They
awful.
sure are.
So,
At least it's not WrestleMania Backlash, though.
That's true. Would that make Elimination Chamber like posthumously like Elimination Chamber Australia?
I think they actually call it Elimination Chamber Perth.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yes, it is elimination. It is Elimination Chamber Perth. They called it because that's a bad name. In Germany, it's called No Escape because you can't call it Elimination Chamber in Germany.
You really can't.
That's a nice little tidbit of learning about WWE naming schemes. So,
anyway, on to the first match. Before we go into the first match, overall thoughts. I know we had a whole thing about the crowd, and we'll get into that as we get into the matches.
We'll get into the crowd. I wanted to talk about the card length because I think we brought that up in the Discord chat too.
Yep.
I think these companies are trying and kind of missing the mark on finding what a good length of a pay-per-view is.
I think both companies are. Let's be clear about that.
Sometimes WWE has far too many. Sometimes AEW has far too many. But 5 matches, I feel, is too short of a card. But then again, this is like a B show pay-per-view, so...
And also, I think it's because Triple H wanted to kind of shorten the pay-per-view times. So I guess he's kind of cutting the match card down a little bit so that it doesn't run too long. But I think a good medium is 7 to 8 matches.
Watching the replay of this, it was a crisp 3 hours.
Yep.
But I can imagine live, there's a bunch of fucking ads also thrown in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so I watched this on Peacock, but I also have a really robust ad blocker, so...
Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't have ads, but also that's
yeah, because comparing that to Money in the Bank, we had 7 matches there, and that was what, half hour, 45 minutes, and each hour 20, about 2 hours close of wrestling in terms of matches, and this one kind of hit about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So I mean, for missing 2 matches, it did fill the time with a lot of wrestling. When you lose 2 matches and you're still kind of close to a match length of time being gone. So there was a lot of wrestling in this event. No matches were 6 minutes like last time. So, but yeah, I think
off with a good one. Though.
Yes, I think 6 or 7 matches is kind of the sweet spot that these companies should aim for. As long as you can make the matches. 8. Yeah, as long as you can make the matches themselves interesting, I don't think people will complain about that.
But yeah, but for like a 5-match pay-per-view, everybody got, a good amount of time to, get out there and do their thing. I think a lot of those matches are like 20 to 30 minutes tops.
So looking at these 5 matches here, no match went over 30 minutes, but no match was less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So decent time for each of them. I think the average time was probably about 15 minutes per match, which isn't bad. But yeah, we start off with this is very interesting where this match sits on the card, I think, because I feel like this is like a weird Oreo. You had a really good opening and a really good finish, but then you just kind of had like almost middling matches like between the two of them in places. There was a really good match just smack dab in the middle of the card. I kind of dug the women's triple threat, which we'll talk about. I did feel like the other 2 matches kind of under-delivered a bit. Yeah, let's start with this Bloodline match.
It's interesting to see the bloodline opening versus,
closing like
anything
they've
else.
been doing.
Like they've been doing for the last 4 years.
Before we get into this, I also want to bring up, I saw something earlier. The presentation of Solo Sikoa, they've been trying to rebuild him up after all the shit that he went through, like just as a member of the bloodline. Because they're trying to get him to have this aggressive side because they fear that when Jacob Fatu debuts, that his aura is going to overpower Solo's as a teammate.
And from what I've seen of Jacob Fatu, it just might, because that dude is phenomenal. All right, I mean, that dude is incredible. You gotta see it.
Yeah, it's
don't just start with that shit, Deca.
Yeah, it's a very interesting that they're trying to build Solo up after so long when they're going to add a guy who's probably going to outshine him in every department when he debuts.
But you know what though? I really do like Solo's presentation recently, because I mean he's coming out with like the suit, the gloves and all that. He looks like a hitman, bro. And I just kind of feel it. So good on him for trying something new with Solo.
Oh. Do y'all remember like the Attitude Era? Probably like towards the end of the Attitude Era, I Did It for the Rock Era Rikishi.
Yes,
where he comes out all dripped out in like a fucking.
I'm getting those vibes. Vibes here.
That's exactly the vibe I'm getting.
This is also Tama Tonga's first match in WWE. First televised match. He might be on house shows. We don't know.
Definitely on house shows.
And they're taking on the team of Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, which is a team that we've seen in the past. This isn't a new thing. This is a rather frequent tag team, it seems like, with these two. We'll get to the finish of this match, but I did like how this match was given to Tama a lot. Like he was given a lot of time to be in the ring and show what he can do because he is the new face in this group right now.
He was the new face.
I have a question, and it's going to be something that breaks kayfabe a little bit.
Sure.
Had they not brawled at the start of this match before the bell rung, and Nick Aldis made this a no DQ match, would Tonga Loa still have debuted knowing that he could have had his team lose?
So you see, this is the thing about the bloodline is they're still up to some 60 chest shit just because they're curtain jerking.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about it, I'm like, if this wasn't a no DQ match, would he still have popped up to cost the bloodline to win just to debut? It was one of those things I was like, this only makes sense. Probably. This only makes sense if they planned for Nick Aldis to turn this into a no DQ match.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a big thing. Tonga Loa debuts at the end of this match, almost missing his cue to pull the ref out of the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Like they are.
You can only tell that when you
look at the fan footage.
When you look at the fan footage, yes. You can't tell that from WWE.
The camera angle saved this man's debut.
Yeah, because I did not know this was happening like that, honestly.
But there was also zero reaction to Tonga Loa arriving, and I was just like, that's probably just the crowd, but that is a audible silence to this man's presence right now. And it's just so funny because people forgot that he was in NXT back in 2014. He was there as a Camacho there with Hunico, and then he left. Did all his New Japan stuff, had the New Japan match that is constantly memed where he's doing the slow to Okada, doing the and then he there's a clip of him botching the 619 and then his balls on the ropes when he tries to swing through it, and it's just like, oh no, this is the man that we're getting here. Jacob Fatu is going to save this group, honestly.
Oh yeah.
Because this was a good match. You can always count on Kevin Owens and Randy Orton to put on a good match and make their opponents strong. There wasn't a lot of bad chemistry with Tama and anybody in the ring. He seems to be able to work well with at least KO and Randy, which is promising to see. Before Tonga Loa appeared, having Tama Tonga almost eat the pin feels wrong to me, but can see why it makes sense, you know, oh, it's his brother, so he saved him kind of thing. And at the end of this match, when they're all standing tall, because I looked at the team, this is the new bloodline, we're expecting one more guy. All I could think of was, this has no aura to it at all, like Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns had like 4 years of development. You're judging this off of like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's still very early in this new bloodline, you know. And on top of that,
I know I said it.
But the thing is, they're trying to display a new aggression with this bloodline, because it's not going to be like, you know, the OG, you know, smooth Roman Reigns Usos bloodline. Yeah. These guys are supposed to be more savage and more violent. I mean, they've been trying to portray that the last couple of weeks with Kevin Owens also. So I'm just going to give this some time and just let it marinate.
I was just watching, I was like, God, I hope this gets better, because this is like, it's not right now for me.
Roman Reigns was fully doing Suffering Succotash his first few, you know, promos. So
and he means
a little bit.
Let them cook.
You gotta let them cook. This also leads into the SmackDown that was in France, where this crowd, we'll talk about again, was hot as shit for wrestling to finally be there. Final Testament getting no pop at all, and I'm like, the experiment's done. Like, the experiment's done. Christ. Get these guys out of here.
Like, it's failed at this point. It's done. It's
like
finished.
Even this hot fucking crowd in a foreign country was just like,
this crowd would have cheered the Brooklyn Brawler showing up.
Yes. I would have popped for the Brooklyn Brawler, let's be honest.
True.
Fair. You know what I mean, though.
So so this starts off the night. Great showing of all these guys.
So I wanted to point out something before we move on to the next match. I do agree. Great showing between all of these guys. There was a thing. I can't remember if it was SmackDown talking smack or if it was a Raw talk or whatever it was. But they had Big E on, and they also had CM Punk, who's you know, just doing the rounds with injuries, and the host. And Big E was mentioning, like, hey, you know, Tama Tonga, Tangaloa, you know, Gorillas of Destiny in New Japan, and CM Punk looked at him like he had two heads, because he was like, huh? What?
Also,
and he's like, what? I know stuff.
Yeah, and I'm kind of glad you're doing this.
I watch other companies.
Yeah. And then CM Punk was like, well, I didn't know what we were allowed to say. And then Big E was like, well, if they're gonna talk to me something, they'll talk to me in the back.
Yeah, you know, and I'm kind of glad that they're pointing that stuff out too, you know, because it's kind of, you know, and it goes along with, you know, the crowd, them trying to pretty much explain who these guys are, you know, because we got complaints about that with AEW all the time. Oh, they debut these guys, but they'll never say anything, you know, which that's kind of false, because they do one video packages and all that stuff. WWE is basically trying to pretty much introduce the crowd to who these guys were before they got here. And honestly, that was a smart move by Big E and WWE as a whole.
How do you introduce a tag team probably as like fringe to a mainstream wrestling audience, like Gorillas of Destiny, to a crowd that probably never watched New Japan? Like, you can't have these guys just show up and then like not kind of explain what makes them WWE like worthy in the eyes of WWE.
Exactly, and the same way to go for Jacob Fire too as well. So
I may as well do a moonsault and everybody's gonna lose their fucking mind. Like,
he's gonna do that like fucking rope jump moonsault, and everyone's gonna like fucking kill themselves.
I do want to take a moment here to say shame to Michael Cole. Shinto. He was like, he has great matches against Shinto, and I was like, do you mean Shingo Takagi? Is that who you're fucking talking about? We called him Shinto. And I was like, oh God. I was like, Michael Cole, what the fuck are you doing?
Michael Cole does not know things about New Japan.
He dropped Tama Tonga, had great matches against Shinto, and I was like, Shingo Takagi and Evil. And I'm like, really? Out of everybody, you're calling out Evil as one of the top guys that fucking Tama Tonga's wrestled. Because, well, then again, most of New Japan's roster is AEW, so.
Yeah, exactly. They can't mention anyone in AEW.
So yeah, it's just like, oh shit.
It's one of those looks through notes moments Michael Cole had. So I'll let him pass on that.
Yeah.
I was just
I don't expect the commentary off rip to be able to be like, oh yeah, they had this match with this person, even if they have fully have notes on them.
yeah.
I know that they watch they obviously watch other product, but I expect them to keep in line with like the WWE storylines and everything, and that's at the forefront of their mind.
Yeah.
But when we go back to Big E, who is like, oh yeah, these are the Guerrillas of Destiny in New Japan.
Well, he's watching New Japan because he's friend. It's like the whole fantasy booking of we want the New Day versus the Elite. Like, yeah, I want that tag match to happen at some point in my lifetime if Big E can wrestle something.
With Kenny Omega, who can wrestle, but whatever.
Kenny Omega is going to have another announcement tonight, and I'm like, I swear to God, if that angle actually hurt him enough to make him retire, I'm going to be pissed off. Legitimate heat with the Young Bucks, like. Because that man's taking bumps he probably shouldn't be taking. I
mean, unless he's fully cleared and we didn't know
unless he's fully cleared
and
he's just fucking leading us on. And honestly, that sounds more like Kenny than so. But yeah, this was a good opening match. The ending with Tongaloa kind of doesn't hit right with the crowd because I think maybe half knew him, half were just confused to who this man was. KO did sell that finishing Samoan Spike like a gunshot, though. Like, he got hit and nearly like backflipped just from the hit of it. Then we go to what is one of my two favorite matches of the night. The main event is great, but I really like this Bayley, Naomi, Tiffany Stratton match.
It was really good.
It did its job for me, which is showcase Tiffany Stratton.
Yes.
Naomi is there because she's there to take the pin. Tiffany Stratton is there to show off, and you're not going to have Bayley lose the title. So it's a nice. Everybody have their roles. Tiffany got a chance to shine. Bayley retains, and at the end of the match, there is a nice little like moment of friendship still between Bayley and Naomi.
Crucially, Naomi ate the pin.
Yes, that was the. They probably made it a triple threat so they wouldn't have to pin Tiffany. Tiffany now has the ability to gripe. It's like, hey, I wasn't pinned. I'm still, in this kind of thing.
The whole momentum building thing with Tiffany Stratton, and good on him for doing that because,
and Ludwig,
like I said, again, she's only been in the ring 2 years.
Can Ludwig fight?
Probably.
I love that picture. It's like there's a picture of Tiffany Stratton. It's like, can Kaiser fight? So.
Oh yeah. Can Kaiser fight?
Can Kaiser fight?
Yeah, but most likely, I think Tiffany Stratton is going to be a main event.
She's next superstar. She's the next big. She's like in that next generation of big women's champions.
And she's only been in there 2 years. Keep in mind, all right. Roman Reigns' title reign is still longer than her whole career right now. Just want to let the audience, refresh the audience on that.
Okay, should do this. They should call this. WWE should just start calling it the before Roman after or before Cody after Cody for the eras.
BCAC.
Yeah. This crowd loves the shit out of Naomi. This was a crowd that got hyped for that music and her entrance and everything. And we keep dancing around it. This crowd was hot. We keep saying that like crowds can make or break a pay-per-view a lot of time, and this one kind of did both. They made it feel like this huge event, but goddamn, there was zero self-awareness of when they were starting to get fucking annoying. Like, but then I think we talked about it in Discord. That's the French. Like
that is European crowds in general. Like that's football crowds.
Yeah, and they brought that football crowd energy to Backlash, and it was like after every 2 count, which there were a lot of them in this match. So I can kind of see where it got annoying when they stepped chanting simply Mountain Dew, and chanting after that. So
what gets me is they chant it sometimes for like 5 minutes straight, and it's just God damn it.
You asked how many 2 counts are in this match, like particularly within the first 5 minutes. I mean, there was roll up after roll up, so I kind of get it.
I think it got to me during the women's tag team match where I'm like, this crowd fucking sucks sometimes. Like, it was sucking out.
I'm gonna take you to a football match, Sharky. I'm gonna take you to a European football match.
You'll understand it better if you went to a football match. Shit, I might want to go to one myself.
This is America. It's called soccer.
I'll kill you.
Remember, we're used to energyless, lifeless American crowds. Okay,
Yes.
these
Oh
guys
yeah,
are
the
different
American
over here.
crowds need to fucking amp their shit up now after all
Yeah.
this. It's fucking
Exactly.
embarrassing.
No,
Like,
we're just gonna you keep getting what chance every 5 seconds.
there were a few cool moments in this match. I also want to say I kind of like there's been a meme going around Twitter lately of Def Rebel and people like making bad like remixes of his wrestler like theme songs. And if he did Bailey's, this man completely ripped the X-Men animated series guitar riff into her fucking theme song.
Yeah.
Like if you were to play that shit and hear that guitar riff, you'd be like, that's the fucking 90s X-Men. Like it's just, I was like, this man is fucking just plagiarizing everything.
No,
Get this man out of here.
I will say this: Death Rebel every now and then hits on a theme or two, like Austin Theory's theme lately. But other than that,
I like
it's not good.
So I pointed out, it's like, what kind of dirt does this man have to keep a job? Like, it's like, did he know? Did he know anything in the Vince case?
I've actually seen reports that they're contracted to the end of the year, and they have heard people's complaints.
Good.
And that's all I'm gonna say.
We'll see.
So there were some cool spots in this match. I like Tiffany slamming both of the women onto each announce table with
that was good.
Yeah,
that was fun. Slam. And then they hit the prettiest moonsault was countered into a 1D, which was pretty good.
That was dope as hell. That's Naomi pulling out of the Bloodline playbook.
Yeah, and then you get they get Tiffany out of the ring. I think Naomi goes for a pin, and then Bailey does a small package, the best pin in wrestling history, and just wins with a roll up. Kind of a meh finish to a match that was starting to get real good in terms of everything, but this was probably still one of my favorite matches. Just everybody got a chance to showcase their stuff, and Tiffany looks like a fucking star.
And on top of that, all three of these women gelled very well together.
Yes.
This was a match that had chemistry.
They were just transitioning left and right, and it looked fluid. I'm like, man, and this is for the first time with all three of them in the ring together. It looked fantastic. I mean, they must have been putting in some work before this, so kudos all three of them. They did really fantastic in this match.
I mean, Bailey's the veteran. Tiffany Stratton is almost natural at this, and you had Naomi who got to travel and work with the women in TNA. Perfecting her craft. Like, this was a lot of just experience being shown. And like I said, nothing felt overly complicated in this match. I don't think there was ever something that seemed like a misstep in terms of like the plan for the match. Everything just kind of gelled really well here. Then we move on to, this is in a weird spot on the card too. The World Heavyweight title, Damian Priest versus Jey Uso.
That should have main evented, honestly.
I feel like we got this match a little early. These two at least. But the point of this match, I don't think is the match itself. I think it is the end of the match. I think that is the purpose that this match serves. Again, this crowd is hyped as hell for Jey Uso. America has to fucking step this shit up. Like
when we were talking about aura, like Jey Uso's got it.
He does. He has shown that. I think between him and his brother, he is the Shawn Michaels to the Jannetty.
But the problem is, Jimmy isn't that much of a Jannetty, though.
No, I don't think Jimmy's like bad like Jannetty. I just don't think he's going to reach that same solo stardom. I think he's just going to always kind of be good, but not where Jay's at. I think Jay's on a different level right now. Even before Jimmy's injury, I think Jay just hit harder as a solo star than Jimmy did. This match has just two of my favorite things, and they're not even in relation to the performers in this match. Michael Cole said that JD had a Klingon head, which made me pop. It was fucking fantastic. And then
he also calls him a Funko Pop.
He also calls a Funko Pop. And then when Damian Priest gets mad at JD because he told the Judgment Day before this that he didn't want them in the ring. He wants to beat Jey Uso on his own. Doesn't need their help. And then JD JD is arguing with Damian Priest, and it's like, I'm here to help you, man. Use your head. And Damian Priest says, how about you use your big ass head? I was like,
That was good.
I was like, God, this is so funny.
Cole and Priest just barbecuing JD for no reason. Man, I don't think that man didn't deserve that. But it's funny though.
I don't know why they didn't try to package him and Von Wagner as siblings. They have the same fucking foreheads. So
Jesus Christ.
they did release Von Wagner, didn't they too?
Yeah, they did.
I think
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I think he got released in the chain of releases that happened. Unfortunate, but I guess that's probably a TKO. A lot of it was like lower level NXT, but then some guys who were just like on the main roster, like Cameron Grimes and all that, like they got released. Just a really weird.
The thing about Cameron Grimes is he's gonna cook though. You know, he's wherever he ends up.
He's just gonna go back to. He's just gonna go back to TNA. Probably.
Yeah, like Trevor Lee again. He's just gonna cook.
They did get rid of Gable Stevenson. Actual W.
Good.
So
he was
out of here.
It was bad. The whole, sexual assault thing, like just actual W on TKO for that release, if that was their call.
And not even that, he was just bad in the ring, had no charisma, had no aura.
Bro really thinks he's Kurt Angle.
He had nothing. It's bad when you're the big superstar signee that they think you're gonna be, but that ends up being your brother, because your brother has more potential than you do. But he's down in NXT in the faction right now.
Yeah. So
no quarter catch Kurt. So yeah.
The NXT version of Blackpool Combat Club. That's just a William Regal again.
Technically, with William Regal's kid now. So
with actual, not his adopted children, his actual children. I think this match.
Shout out to Charlie Dempsey, though.
Yeah, this match just did its purpose. You have the Judgment Day interfere. Judgment Day interferes. Priest retains, and then Priest starts to lose his McFucking marbles on the rest of Judgment Day. If there was ever a question of who was in charge, this is where it starts to throw that into. Is it Finn? Is it Damian Priest? They're starting to fall apart without Rhea Ripley there. And yeah, this is definitely going to be planting the seeds, I guess, for a Damian face turn at some point. Maybe even a Finn face turn. I don't know who works better at this stage.
I like the storytelling of like Damian saying, "Hey, I don't need you guys out there," but objectively speaking, he did need them out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's a lot to build on that they could go forward with.
I mean, and as far as who ends up, as far as what happens with the Judgment Day, it really could go either way at this point. I mean, Finn and Damian both do make really good faces. We saw that in NXT, and with Damian and Finn, and I don't know. It's just kind of hard to tell the direction of what they're going to do with them. I know a breakup is coming, but who is going to be the odd man out is something that I'm looking forward to.
Right.
It's just like how there's also a subplot right now in Judgment Day of Liv Morgan and Dom.
Just man.
Like Dom enters a room with his bandana, leaves without his bandana, and then during a promo later, Liv has his bandana in her pocket, and I'm like, oh, she's going like full revenge on Rhea Ripley.
Rhea Ripley's coming back. This is almost signals Rhea Ripley coming back as a face, because that's going to end up in some situation.
They're going to have another custody of Dom match. This is the long-term booking.
Oh my god!
The end game.
I wouldn't be surprised if he suggested that either. Like just
20 years later.
It's so. I also want to point out, the more that I see it, Jay Spear just kind of sucks. Like, it doesn't even, when he hits it, it's not even like a shoulder tackle. He's like hitting it from like the angle, so it's just his arm like catching the stomach. I'm like, Jay, come on, man. Just at least try to like tackle him. That's just me and my gripes. Also, the crowd shaking the hard cam during this fucking pay-per-view. That shit goes hard. Like, that stadium was going nuts when you have the hard cam shaking like that. And we see it later in the AJ Cody match, where you just see AJ's face and it's just like, man.
I love when crowds do that. That's just, NXT crowds do it pretty regularly.
Just stop the chanting once in a while.
No, you can't have both.
Like I said, that made the pay-per-view for me. I mean, it was fun just to watch that crowd in general. Okay, and like I said, I get envious of international crowds because I wish American crowds were more like that, or at least in a bit more, full of life and energy like they were.
American crowds to me like to yell snide things at wrestlers and drink beer, and that's about it.
Yeah. Bring back 90s WCW where people just threw shit in the ring.
You don't actually do that.
Because there was that, I mean, like, if you know how to play it off, it's like you had Scott Hall during his little promo get hit with the beer, and then, like, with the when his hair was wet, he, like, combed back his hair. Like, it was like a beer, and then you had MJF who got hit with a beer during his thing.
I miss those wild-ass WCW days, man, because they were fun.
This is not ECW where they threw the chairs into the fucking ring. And the guy with the intercom, stop throwing chairs. Like, but I went back and I watched clips of the NWO era for WCW, and like, yeah, those crowds just like threw all the trash in the fucking ring when the NWO was there, and I was like, man, simpler times, really. This is when wrestlers would get stabbed for being heels.
Yeah.
Back when we had imagination and a lack of understanding. And everybody understood what it was like to be a heat magnet. It just kind of lead into it.
Back when before the illusion was shattered.
Yeah.
How crazy would that be in 2024 if we still thought wrestling was legitimate? You think Roman would have walked out of WrestleMania after beating Cody that one year? Or would he have to run and be escorted out of WrestleMania? They would have had a helicopter come in and carry him out of the fucking arena, so he wouldn't have to be on the ground. So yeah, this World Heavyweight title is, I think, in a weird spot on this match, because after this we get the Women's Tag Team Championship, which I feel are probably the least relevant titles they've ever been at this point. Feel so bad for these titles because like they had hopes and dreams at the start. Then it's just kind of one thing after another. Kyrie was fucking up in this match.
Big time.
I think we were talking about that in the Discord. Kyrie was fucking up this match a lot. Not being the legal woman for the pin. When the ref tried to tell her that Asuka was tagged in, she didn't understand and like tried to transition into an armbar. like I'm just like,
what the fuck?
I'm like, oh no. She's botching this.
Yeah, Kyrie, I love her to death, but that was just not it. Okay, she was fucking up hard in this match. Okay, and this went on for like a solid 2 to 3 minutes too, after the ref told her. Because I don't know when I can't remember exactly when Asuka got tagged back in.
Oh, it was after the ref like separated. Kyrie like walked to like, she went to like, I guess go off the ropes, but like stopped and walked, and then Asuka tagged her and got into the ring. And the ref was like, okay, I guess Kyrie was the legal person. Asuka's tagged in.
And maybe that was a miscommunication, but it just came off so bad.
And
it was awful.
It was bad. And I think in those moments, because I think that was when Bianca was in the ring, or maybe it was Jade, but like I don't think they knew how to respond to it, because it's like, I'm not supposed to be wrestling you right now. I'm supposed to be wrestling Asuka. What is happening?
Yeah.
Long story short though, Bianca and Jade win. Jade hits Kyrie with the same kind of jaded that she hit Sky Blue with back in AEW, catching her midair and then shifting her into the jaded position.
Which looked fantastic, by the way.
Which looks fantastic, but also Kyrie's very small. It probably makes it very easy to do so.
And also, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Jade do like a springboard splash too? I didn't see her do that in AEW. If I remember correctly.
I don't know. I think this was a thing where Bianca was in the match a lot at the start, and then Jade kind of served as like the hot tag at times, kind of still building her up. But yeah, it was really nice seeing that callback to just what Jade does to smaller women's wrestlers and how easily she can adjust them to hit a finishing move.
To be fair, everyone is small compared to Jade Cargill, except for like
Jade Cargill is she is wonderful, and she is very big and very scary.
So, like I'm telling you right now, I've seen Jade Cargill live at AEW twice in person. TV doesn't do her justice. You just got to see her live in person to understand just how massive she is.
Lift up, Kyrie. Yeet.
Yeah, pretty much.
But now we got Bianca and Jade as tag team champions. I think this is just another title for Bianca, which now gives her the Women's Grand Slam. Both major titles and tag. So
I don't remember if she's gotten NXT or not.
No, she never won the NXT title.
Yeah, so 2 women's titles and then the tag team. So I guess that makes her a Grand Slam for the women's division since they don't have a middle title.
NXT championship.
She did win it?
They count it. She has not won it.
Did not win it? Okay. Well, she's won all the main roster titles for women.
She's won all the main roster titles for sure.
And if they introduce a mid-card title for women, I'm pretty sure she'll eventually win that too. She is a reliable wrestler. She is out there making her teammate look good, helping her teammate look good. She's making her opponents look good. I think Bianca is a fixture in WWE for foreseeable future, as long as she wants.
I think we're kind of overdue for at least a women's intercontinental championship.
She's also like one of Trips' kids, so
yeah, she's one of the proteges.
Yeah,
right.
Like adopting all of the wrestlers. This is probably my least favorite match on the card. Just a mixture of the in-ring mistakes and everything. The pacing felt off at times. It like went very fast and then very slow, and the crowd was at this point just kind of grating on me a bit. I'm happy we got new tag team champions though. I hope this opens up Asuka and Kairi to do more solo stuff with Damage Control.
Yeah,
instead of being stuck together,
or away from Damage Control,
or away from Damage Control. So
as much as I like seeing them as tags, I more so like seeing them beat the shit out of each other.
Now I'm just wondering, like, where does this take the tag team championship in terms of Jade and Bianca feuding with people? Be interesting to see how that all evolves. I'm hoping the tag team titles aren't just stuff that's slapped on people to give them something to do at this point. Like, I hope their feuds have some meaning. These titles too, kind of reestablish them in some way.
Yeah, they gotta start building some more women's tag teams, though. I mean, because right now, I think the only legitimate, they're just makeshift tag teams. The only legitimate one being Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. But I think if they would just work on that division a little more and start putting more legit women's tag teams together, because they got a whole plethora of women down in NXT they can do that with. Yeah. I think, eventually we call them up to the main roster, or, you work with the women that's on the main roster right now. It could work out. It's just they got to put some effort into it, though.
Yeah. Yeah, so hopefully this can breathe some life into this division a bit and give some more women who aren't doing something, something to do.
Yeah.
I just don't know who could take the titles off of a team of Bianca and Jade. That seems like a very dominant tag team to me. So here's the hope in maybe down the line Zoe Starks and somebody who's equally like physically posing could be
Shayna Baszler.
Shayna Zoe
already tagging.
Yeah, so that might be a good final feud for their run. Then we get to the big fight feel of this pay-per-view. Universal title, AJ Styles, reliable wrestler, to always make somebody look good, and champion Cody Rhodes. Fantastic promo video. WWE hits it out of the parks with these videos to like show what's got us to this point. Especially when they had just such a short build to this too, I think. This crowd loves AJ Styles to the point that they're going to let you fucking know that they love AJ Styles.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. Every 5 minutes.
I laugh so hard every time they do this for these main events. WWE found like an 8K camera laying around because when it goes in for the close-ups of the two wrestlers, that shit's in like 8K definition. And then when the match starts, it goes back to whatever normal camera they're using. And I'm just like, man, they really did fire Kevin Dunn and like just bust out everything that's been in storage. Like,
I once again want to just reiterate how much better the camera work has gotten since Kevin Dunn has been shit canned.
yes.
Yeah, and on top of that, and it shows in this pay-per-view, you know, the way they use those wide angle shots, especially with Jey Uso's entrance, with him yeeting to the crowd, that was fantastic. They caught the energy of the crowd. They caught the visuals just right. You can tell that TKO has put some effort into production since Kevin Dunn left. And it's so much better for it now, especially whenever they do the one shot, whenever they do the one take entrances like they did on Raw with CM Punk. I love it still. Okay, I hope they do more stuff like that.
This is another instance of shaking the hard cam. You have AJ's entrance, and it's just like that crowd's going fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Also, it also shows to me that WWE, if they do this again, should probably invest in steady cams to not have that happen if they want to.
I will say I do like the effect because that does show
if that's how hype your crowd is, it does work. But it's like,
yeah,
maybe we should just have them on standby just in case. Like,
I don't know. I think it makes it look legitimate though. You know, the crowd shaking with the camera shaking that.
What kind of stands was that? Had to be like a like pull out stand or something. Or maybe, I don't think that was like a concrete one like we have here. Because like I feel like that's probably like some actual like floor that was shaking. Because our arena here has like concrete like levels built onto it, so you can't shake that shit if you tried.
Yeah, like the scope's really solid, you know, and they kind of bolted that to the ground somehow.
Oh,
I'm surprised they don't, you know, shake during matches. But I mean, our crowd here isn't as animated as one overseas, so you know, they can get away with it.
Absolutely not. We still bring the energy here in Norfolk, but it does not. It does not get that hype.
It's just that energy of like seeing, for example, Tiffany Stratton come out and some drunk being like, "Show me your tits," and drinking a beer.
Oh, every fucking time, dude. Every goddamn time, and they're right behind you, screaming in your ear.
Yep.
Like just one asshole every single time, and I hate it.
I'm gonna gripe here. Any of the people from Virginia who are watching, if there are shows at the Scope, in the middle of a match, don't stand up when everybody else is sitting down. You're in the way. We had to call out somebody in front of us because he was standing right up in front of my friend's wife and she couldn't see the match. And I had to be like, yeah, it'd be great if you could see it. And get his attention so he'd sit down. Like, just these fucking assholes, man. That was our local wrestling gripe.
Standing up is for when you have like the floor seats.
Yeah. Not when you're sitting in a fucking crowd, like when the chairs can't move.
Not when you're sitting in it. Yeah, exactly. Like I have been fortunate enough to be on the, you know, down in those seats, and that's where you stand.
Yeah. Really digging AJ's Judgment Day purple that he had in this match.
Yeah.
Seeing him in the purple AJ Styles gear instead of the blue, which I guess this is his bad guy color for his heel turn.
Well, on top of that, I think they mentioned during the pay-per-view that those were the same colors that he wore when he beat Dusty Rhodes like 21 years ago.
Because that was in the promo package.
That was an actual match in the early TNA days, like when they were NWA TNA.
Yeah. So that was cool to have that callback. That was like Seth Rollins wearing the Dusty Rhodes like polka dots. One of his matches against Cody.
Right.
Kind of hoping Cody eventually moves away from I'm Dusty Rhodes' son being his whole gimmick.
It's really hard to do that.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just like, my brother in Christ, please. Like, it's like I don't know how many more times I can take promos about, you know, your dad and stuff like that. This felt like we talked about in the Discord. I think also this felt very New Japan.
Yes.
In ways, and that, you know, fits. Both these guys wrestled in New Japan for a few years. I mean, both of these guys have connections to Bullet Club, and no, Cody did not lead Bullet Club. Cole, stop. Like, he was just there. Keep saying Cody Rhodes was a leader in Bullet Club.
Oh, he was a member.
He was not. I think I saw a post on Twitter that fucking killed me. It's like, no, Cody was not a leader in Bullet Club. Cody's job there was to be bisexual and funny. It's like, and I was like thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, that's what he did in Bullet Club. Like,
yeah.
I don't know why, but that tweet fucking just got me so good. I was like, yeah, that's what he did in New Japan. This match has a lot of varying intensities to it. You'll have these very slow moments. You'll have these like very brief like bursts of spots and energy, and then it kind of slows down again. And it does that, I think, probably 2 or 3 times in this match. You'll have like this really big, I guess they're trying to make it seem more fitting for selling, because you'll get this really big spot and then a little bit of a slowdown. Then, you know, you get your next big spot. They don't keep their foot on the gas in this match. And for a 27-minute match, yeah, it helps the pacing a little bit, but it's like, oh, that's awesome, and then just wrestling. Oh, yes, a big spot. Oh, they're just wrestling. It's like, that's kind of what it felt like. It was like the bubble yum flavor. It's like, it's really good, and then it's just flavor's gone.
Yeah.
There was
I will say I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. I mean, it was great. It's just like I just noticed that like the pacing was always like start stop. Like,
well, it's like Deca said, it's a very New Japan Pro Wrestling style match, and that's pretty much a majority of how those matches go over there. You know, it's like almost every last one of them, including the tag matches. You know, they just have periods where they have bursts, and then they just have periods where they just slow it down a bit. I don't think it's that much. I don't think it's that far removed from American wrestling in a sense. It's just, you know, I think the psychology is a little different over here as it is over there.
It was definitely a different set of psychology, I think, and that's what was kind of throwing me off about it. Because I was like, they're not wrestling an AEW style, they're not wrestling a WWE style. It was like this weird style that I don't see a lot of because I don't watch a lot of like live or anything. So it's just like
the thing about wrestling the New Japan style is when you're building the anticipation for the next big spot, what usually happens is the crowd goes, oh, and they don't really do that in America.
No, they don't. Oh.
Well, I guess they're in France, so fair enough, but still.
Yeah, so some of the big spots in this match, there was this delayed superplex that had Cody come down really hard. Very rough landing. I'm glad he's not hurt or anything. He did like very much land on his like side and his arm rather than like on his back or something.
Cody almost killed himself with a Cody cutter. Then with another Cody cutter.
We're going to talk about that because God, it still does not look good at all.
Not when he,
And he tried to go for like a super version too, which was real fucking stupid looking. They have a spot where Cody gets hit with like an electric chair and then hits the disaster kick, and then they just kind of sell it for a minute. It was like that little burst. I'm gonna get hit, I'm gonna hit the disaster kick, and then that's our slowdown. The thing that gets me about this match is, okay, well, also they destroy the Friends Announce table that basically explodes when AJ takes the power bomb on it. It full goes like the cap comes off, or like the top comes off with AJ, and then like the sides just like fall over. I was like, this table actually just kind of exploded from this power bomb. It didn't collapse or anything. And then we talked about this. Oh, well, before that also, they did the thing that is becoming more frequent. I'm calling it the corner spots, where the two guys are in the corner staring each other down, and shouting at each other, and you think they're going to have the big old clash in the middle of the ring. They build up to that, and then it just goes into them doing their typical like WWE brawl, just like in the fucking center of the ring, and then it goes to Cody's like dusty punches and elbow. Like,
oh, those brawls originated in the indies.
Yeah. It's like they had a thing. It's like they were yelling and like building all this intensity, and then it just turns into like just a basic WWE like brawl. It's like, oh, okay. Well, that's not as intense as I thought it was going to be from how you guys were acting. Then we get the burning hammer spot, which I have been tracking a lot on social media just to kind of gauge responses to this. Some people like it because it just makes Cody look stronger. And Deca tried to call me out for this, but I didn't know this because I watched a video 3 years ago that actually mentioned it. So this was just a bit of knowledge I had in my brain. I just never had a reason to bring out until I saw, a burning hammer in a WWE pay-per-view. Kenta Kobashi only used the burning hammer after watching it 7 times. And it was the like super move to end a match. Because the execution of it is a little bit dangerous with the angle that they come down at. But it was the move that's like he's going to hit it, nobody's going to kick out. This motherfucker kicks out at 1. And a bunch of like classic wrestling fans were like, well, that sucks. And a lot of people are like, well, it's a new thing that's just making Cody look stronger, and all this other shit. And I'm just like, I personally kind of hate it. Because now it's like if AJ had hit that to like finish a match in the past or like in recent memory, like if that's how he beat LA Knight, which I don't know how he beat LA Knight. I didn't watch that episode of SmackDown. But if you had hit like LA Knight with a burning hammer and that's how he won the match, I'd be like, okay, he has a new move in his arsenal kind of thing. But this was just like, I'm just going to bust it out and it's just going to be kicked out at 1. And it's like that. Man. I don't know what you guys think, but I don't know if you guys care.
Particularly.
I
was a fan. I'm always a fan of like diversifying movesets. And I think if there's no way AJ Styles doesn't talk to the people who used it in Japan. It's like, hey, is it okay if I use this? There's no way he doesn't do that.
Ask Kenta Kobashi, can I use a burning hammer even though it's going to be kicked out? And Kenta Kobashi just slaps his chest for good luck, knocks AJ on his back. Yes.
Because the thing is, like, I would be more upset if I saw that move a lot more in the US. But, considering that moves like that, considering that certain moves have become transition moves, i.e. super kicks, Canadian destroyers that were absolute finishers back in the early 2000s, I guess I can't be as mad at that as I want to be because that's just one of those things I just have not seen. Okay, That's a move that's rarely used in the U.S. We only know it because Kobashi uses it in Japan in rare times, and I think it's nice to have like multiple finishers like that. Anyway, Gunther would probably be the equivalent of him nowadays. Because Gunther can beat you in like 5 different ways. Like that.
I think my gripe comes with if he had used it and it would have been one of those like close almost 3 counts.
Yeah.
I think that probably would have sold the effectiveness a little more, especially if AJ started using it more frequently. Oh, but the fact that it's like he hit it and then it's just like instant kick out just kind of felt like, to me, felt kind of off.
It kind of felt like some shit you see in the indies.
Yeah. That's that Japanese fighting spirit.
Yeah.
Both of them have.
I.e. some shit you see in the indies also. So,
yes.
For a WWE pay-per-view, that's weird, by the way.
Let's not forget that I think nobody hates the Canadian Destroyer more than P.D. Williams, and he fucking... So...
How many times have you seen the Canadian Destroyer used as a transition move nowadays? Like,
insert the ridiculous clip of Phoenix and or Penta and Orange Cassidy doing it back to back like 5 times to each other.
Right.
People keep using that. It's like, this is why we hate AEW. And I'm like, this is why I like AEW, because that shit's stupid.
It's stupid but fun.
And it's just like, it's just one of those things. But this match does wear its Japanese influence on its shoulder. And I think this is something that they definitely talked about. It's like, we're going to give him a New Japan match, right? And AJ's like, oh, yeah.
For sure.
Oh, yeah, we're definitely doing that. And then we get to that fucking Cody cutter. It's just one of those moves, man. I'm like, Cody, you have to at least know how to aim it if you're going to do it. You're just jumping. He's just jumping back and hoping his opponent knows how to react to it.
Yeah, because here's the thing. I've seen Will Ospreay do this move. I've seen Nick Wayne do this move. I've seen Jay Malachi, aka Javon Evans in NXT. He did that move beautifully recently. And I don't know whether if it's a timing issue with Cody or not, but whenever he does that move, it just seems like he's about to break his damn neck. He just comes down awkwardly.
He comes down,
and I'm like,
he comes down awkwardly, but again, the move only looks good if your opponent has the direction and momentum to sell it. Like if AJ, but it's one of those things where it's like almost you have to jump into it, so it doesn't make sense from your point of view. Like, why am I jumping into this move? You know, you can't just be standing there and then it suddenly hits. You have to be like forward momentum, like into the Cody cutter.
yeah, and I think in this case they're trying to make it a little more realistic in WWE, and it just doesn't work. Because that's one of those moves you have to jump into, and it requires a good amount of timing. Otherwise, you get Carmelo Hayes and Cody Rhodes with that situation on SmackDown. I couldn't tell you what the hell that was. It looked like somebody trying to play WWE 2K20 or something.
I keep looking at that spot, and I'm like, I have no idea what they were going for.
That was rough.
This. I know that Carmelo and Cody wrestled when Cody was recovering from the torn pec and everything. Mm-hmm. They probably have done that spot before, but like there was a timing issue on that because both of them just went flying into the middle of the ring, and I was just like, "The fuck just happened?"
That's why I think. That's why I think with that move, it's like a combination of both. Because the person doing it has to, kind of have the awareness to see where the other guy's at, and at the same time, the other guy has to have the timing to kind of pull that off at the right time. And I don't know. It's just one of those things that's kind of a lot more difficult to pull off than it looks.
Yeah,
from what I see.
End of this match, Cody hits the crossroads, easy pin. Cody walks out of Backlash, still Universal Champion. This match went on for 27 minutes, and I think chanting was going on for like 14 minutes of that.
I will say I am glad that Cody isn't just doing the crossroads and the crossroads and the crossroads as a finisher. That would get old.
Yeah, I think it was needed with the Roman feud.
Yeah, it was needed to showcase just how much he needed to take out Roman, but he doesn't need that with everyone.
Yeah. AJ Styles definitely wants to come back to France after this fucking match, though. This crowd was singing for him, like I said, for probably 14 minutes of this match. So, and this was when I was typing Discord. I'm like, this fucking crowd, man. Like, in loving annoyance at what the fuck they were doing. But we get it. He is phenomenal. I'm not going to say it in French because I didn't write it down. Oh.
It's in the Discord. I wrote it down for you.
Yeah. So good pay-per-view. A weird number of matches, all things considered, but I think for a B show, it was very serviceable. This crowd definitely helped. I noticed this crowd was going to be hyped as shit when during the intro of this pay-per-view, you could barely hear people like talking with how loud this fucking crowd was. I also want to point out WWE got a new intro. This very Marvel-ass intro that they have now.
They debuted that at WrestleMania.
Which I completely missed because I think we tuned in after that.
Yeah.
I actually has me because I think I keep skipping it whenever I have to watch these replays. So
fair enough.
So I had never seen this until now. So if this has been a thing that's been going on, I hope we missed a gold mine. Because I'm watching this Marvel-ass intro, and I'm just like, hearing Triple H's fucking voiceover about this thing, and I'm like, this intro is so self-flating for Triple H. It's like,
What do you want? Yes, it is.
this man was given this company and has been sucking his own dick since Vince has been kicked out. Like,
Yeah,
Dude, he's having fun. I don't blame him.
having a blast.
He's having fun.
they even did like all the colors of the fucking like Infinity Stones during this thing, and I'm just like, is Def Rebel in charge of this too? Like, is he ripping off these intros? I saw that shit. I was like, that's real fucking funny though. Just the WWE as a marvel.
I think it's great. It's fun.
Oh no, I loved it. It's just really fucking funny to me.
Yeah, it is.
I was like, how have I missed this?
Maybe Triple H is a secret. I mean, maybe Triple H is a Marvel fan. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, it's
Could
just
be.
They're that close to being aligned with Disney, so you know.
yeah.
That's true too. Everything is being close to being aligned with Disney.
I am curious to what is the next? Next is King and Queen of the Ring, which we're not going to cover.
Not touching that one.
We're not touching that one.
There's Double or Nothing coming up next after that.
Yeah, I do want to talk about King and Queen of the Ring though, because they are doing the tournament leading up to, you know, who is King of the Ring and who is Queen of the Ring. Who do we think is going to get it? I feel like this is Gunther's win, setting him up for a title picture.
I think this is Gunther's win too.
Because it's just one of those things where it's like, it's either going to be him or Dragunov. I don't think anybody else is going to survive this fucking. Well, actually, if Dragunov beats Jey Uso and Gunther beats Kofi or Ray, which means Gunther wins,
we're going to get Gunther versus Dragunov on Raw.
And I'm looking at the bottom bracket.
Good.
I'm looking at the bottom bracket here for SmackDown. And it's like, if it's either Gunther or Dragunov, and I'm like, is it AJ, Randy, Baron, Carmelo Hayes, LA Knight, Santos Escobar, Tama Tonga, or Bobby Lashley? The only name that sticks out for me there is LA Knight as a finalist.
Lashley doesn't stick out to you?
I think Lashley's time's passed. Like,
the thing about someone like Lashley who keeps himself in really
Lashley's
good shape
Lashley's taking on Tama Tonga, so I don't think Lashley's winning.
Sure, but my point to saying that is that like Lashley's always just like, you know, he's in that spot where he's like one, you know, two couple matches away from being a main eventer like that.
He's definitely if they need a guy, he's there. He's ready to go.
Also, the next one that we are going to catch is going to be Clash at the Castle Scotland. It is Clash at the Castle, Scotland.
These are all the spin-off events for WWE before they come back to the United States.
Well, Clash at the Castle was always in England, or in Europe, so.
So theoretically, these SmackDown things, I believe it's going to be Tama Tonga and LA Knight, and it's probably going to re-spark LA Knight's feud with the Bloodline. So that might be where that leads. I'm thinking maybe we get, because then you have AJ and Randy, and then Baron and Carmelo, and I think they might make it fucking Tama and Randy going into the thing. Like, I think we might get either Gunther or Dragunov versus Tama Tonga at the end of this.
Either that or Gunther versus Randy, which I wouldn't mind that either. You know, I don't think Tama Tonga is going to get to the finals.
Granted, he's their kids, so we might actually just get like Dragunov versus Carmelo Hayes as the final, and I would actually watch that fucking match.
That would slap too. You know,
it slapped in the past. I will watch it again.
Yeah, so will I.
I do like how Valkyria won for the women's. I believe that they are very high on her, especially to beat Dakota Kai, given, you know, everything with Damage Control lately. But I don't know who's going to win the women's one, and until we see the SmackDown rosters, I don't think we can really predict anything. This Wikipedia does not have the women's tournament brackets announced for SmackDown.
They're gonna announce those on Friday when SmackDown airs. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
I am pretty sure though on Raw next week, or on the 20th, we're going to see Dragunov and Gunther kill each other on live TV.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be
I'm
fucking
here for
great. So
I'm here for that.
yeah, that's gonna be a fantastic match, and the WWE universe will realize what they've been missing. So but yeah, I have no other thoughts about this pay-per-view. This was a serviceable Backlash. I think compared to the last Backlash we watched, this was way better, if I remember correctly. Well, no, Backlash last time was Puerto Rico. So no, that one was. I think that one might have been better than this one.
Crowd was. I think the crowd. So the difference in football crowds who are chanting every 20 seconds and crowds that are more based in wrestling, like Puerto Rico is.
Yeah.
That are still hype are the wrestling crowds that like Japan and Puerto Rico and those places. They know how to give the match some time to breathe.
Yeah, and I mean, you also have Bad Bunny and Damian Priest main eventing that.
Yeah,
that Backlash, you know, to
that's really what made Damian Priest who he is now.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he could give Bad Bunny that good of a match and get Bad Bunny over was real fucking good for that Backlash. I do want to see more from other countries. I want to see new crowds. I want to see that energy of new crowds.
Yep.
So it's I'm happy that they are branching out to, you know, Europe and everything now. They're probably not going to be able to go to Mexico. I think AAA and CMLL probably will have the cartel go after Triple H if they try to have a show in Mexico.
Right. I don't think so. I don't know, man. Because it's like I know AEW has a deal with CMLL. I don't know if Triple H has anything.
Triple H is like,
on.
oh, you work with those losers? No, fuck you. We're not coming to your arena.
So I don't know, man. They're still AAA. They may do something. I don't know.
It's all depending on what Conan wants.
It does all depend on what Conan wants, and what he wants changes very often, I feel like. Japan is doing a good job to try to keep WWE out by also somehow teaming up all of their rival promotions to one like super group.
Right.
I'm just like, Japan's like, we don't want any of this shit. Get that NXT Japan out of here.
Except Rossi Ogawa and his new promotion Marigold, because I think they're doing business with WWE. Or
they are doing business with WWE. Julia is working that promotion while, you know, being under contract with WWE now.
Yeah,
I think that's Fripps's attempt to get a audience in Japan. Yeah. I know there's history. Asuka apparently hates Rossi, so I want to see how that goes. In terms of all of that. Kenny Omega was asked about it, and he's like, I'm going to stand with Asuka on how she feels about it. So real recognizes real.
For sure.
The Marigold promotion already seems sketchy to me because they are looking for female wrestlers, 13 to 30, unmarried. And I'm like, that's a obvious sketch. That's a red flag parade coming down the fucking street right now.
That's like a hurricane red flag right there, honestly.
So yeah, it's just like, nobody said anything because, you know, that could be libel or defamatory, but with the implications of it, I'm going to side with probably Asuka and Kenny on this one.
Also, like, we got Kendrick Lamar just calling Drake a pedophile on Raps. Why can't we just do that here?
Can we take like 30 seconds to talk about the rap beef right now? Because it's been feeding my social media the last few days. There was the report yesterday that somebody got shot outside of Drake's house, and there was a comment there was a retweet of the news article. And it was, I don't know how somebody can be so heartless and careless doing this outside of Drake's house. There are children in there.
Oh, God.
Oh, shit.
And I was just like, I saw that and I was like, oh, man, that's good. It's like, I also want to point out that a Universal Media Group has asked Kendrick Lamar to stop because they realize how badly Drake is losing.
They're losing money because
Drake's label stepped in to stop the beef.
Shut up, K-Dot.
So yeah, as somebody who doesn't listen to a lot of Kendrick or Drake, I only know about them from the fringes. That's been my Twitter, and it has been sustaining my comedy the last few days because people talking shit. It's been
somebody who does moderately listen to mostly K-Dot, because I don't fuck with Drake. Good on Kendrick for costing UMG money.
I think also he's like, both of his songs now are fighting for like #1 on Spotify, so this man's literally like suffering from success. But yeah, so that's our non-wrestling. Actually, I'm gonna tie it into wrestling. Shawn Michaels has offered both of them the ability to come onto the show to wrestle each other. I don't know if you guys saw that tweet.
I did
see that.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels extended an invitation for Kendrick Lamar and Drake to handle it in a WWE ring.
Specifically,
Shawn trying to get that cash cow going.
Specifically because Kendrick mentioned Sweet Chin Music in his rap.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how we're going to tie that into our wrestling podcast this week.
It is. We got there.
But yeah, I enjoyed pay-per-view. Can't wait to see what happens at Clash at the Castle. And yeah, I think then we have Double or Nothing for AEW after.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be interesting with everything being built up now with the new Elite and all that too. So one last thing before I call the episode quits for real.
Yep.
Somebody posted like a notes from like an iPhone, and it was like, who can I call to help me against the Young Bucks? And it's like Kenny's contact list, and it's like Rio, Kota Ibushi injured. And he had like a list of people that are either like injured or just not around. He's like, oh no, I don't have a big list of people here. But it's just like the only name that was available was Rio, and I'm like, that's really funny. All things considered.
It's rough, buddy.
Yeah. So I don't know. I want to see where all that goes. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks guys for joining us on this Wednesday. Again, the timing was weird for this pay-per-view, so I wasn't able to watch it until Monday. So usually, if we had watched it when it came out, we would have probably had this episode out, or at least recorded this on the Monday previously. So we've had a few days to let it simmer and think about it and everything. But yeah, thank you all for watching. As always, you can follow us on social media. We have links in the YouTube video description, and usually in the description, whatever service you listen to. On Spotify, usually there's like the see more, and you can put up the description tag and all that. Right now, I think this is the only active podcast we have going for Without Context for the time being. So this being a almost like a monthly thing rather than a weekly or a bi-weekly thing. At least we'll get to a point where it's a bi-weekly thing again. So you guys will hear from us probably about once a month at this rate. Yeah. Thank you all for the support. Find us, wherever you guys want to listen to stuff. Share us out. And I think on Spotify, if you're listening, there's a description. It's like, what do you think about this episode? I think that question usually pops up below something on Spotify. We'd love to hear some feedback, either on the YouTube videos or on Spotify. Just let us know how we're doing, if you enjoy the discussions format and how we do things here, or anything you guys want to hear us talk about.
I don't know how to do this any other way, so good luck getting me to change.
That's right. All right, guys. Thank you all for joining me, and we'll see you guys later. Peace out, everybody.
Peace.
Everybody. Goodbye, everybody.
I want to try that again. That goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. Oh, I'm tired.
I know you're tired, buddy.